seems. It's been a little bit too long, but very glad to be back. Today we're doing a survivals tutorial with a particular focus on individual level strategies. You'll see some of the strategies that we're doing here are a little bit more aggressive than average. And admittedly, survivals is a category that I have historically not put a ton of time into, but I've done so in the last couple of weeks, and I'm very happy with sort of the demonstration that we have here today. So without any further ado, let's get going. Usually the survivals are done in reverse order with roof coming first. You'll see in the first flag of roof that this is one of the most difficult parts of the entire run, and roof overall is sort of the most subject to variation. So we have that there. We'll sort of start with, again, if you're going for an IL, you wouldn't worry about this in sort of, when you're doing all the levels at once. But in the ILs, this early sun RNG is very important. You'll actually see for this particular attempt, thank you for the good luck, Super. Really appreciate that. Hope you enjoyed the survivals today. You'll see that the sun RNG is super important, and particularly when the first sun falls and when the first sunflower generates sun is a pretty good indication of how good your sun RNG is going to be. Just as a refresher, when you plant a sunflower, there's a random time interval from 3 to 12 seconds before that sunflower produces its first sun, and then it's relatively stable after that. So if you can get closer to that 3 seconds for the first sun, as well as the sun falling from the sky a little bit earlier, that's what we got. Yeah, feel free to do exclamation point where is your fridge, or exclamation point hot flicks for a little life update there, Super, if you're curious sort of what's been going on. I know I've kind of told you one-on-one, but that's a little bit. You'll see we actually in general we let the second zombie go, and in an IL attempt, if this had been on one of the sunflower rows, we would just reset. But again, in this case, we lucked out a little bit, and we actually luck out here as well. If we'd gotten a cone head in this in this row, that would probably also be a reset because we wouldn't have enough sun for the pumpkin. But you can see here that we just got that potato mine in time, which is really nice timing. And again, this is actually particularly lucky that we happened to get a cone head there. So again, I sort of say don't try this at home because it's doing that. Hey, Fabix, what's going on? Really glad you can come join us today. The advantage of letting one of the zombies go is that you'll see that we don't get any zombies for a couple of waves in that fourth row, and that's hugely important as we sort of save up the sun for the second gloom, which we're going to try to get out by the end of the first flag here, which you'll see we do this. These are pre-recorded videos, by the way, so just for full disclosure, not doing this one live. Again, we really wanted to get some good attempts in here, and I think you'll be pretty happy with the results overall. So the disadvantage of letting one of the zombies go is that we normally like to try to get 20 sunflowers, and that's just not possible when you let a zombie go. The cooldown of everything just a little too long, and you'll see even though I tried to get this doom off, that guy was just out of range. The only place that he could have fallen was that exact spot that I wouldn't have been able to get him with the doom, sort of given the timing that I had there. So it's a tough one, but that's what we got. Yeah, if you go Favix, if you go exclamation point, welcome Bella, by the way. If you go exclamation point hotfix, we're playing at one of the mini games done quick hotfix events that they have. It's one of their weekly shows coming up next Saturday, February 4th. So that's very exciting. Really looking forward to it. Again, if everyone is able to tune into the Games Done Quick channel, we'll be having that there. Plants vs Zombies 2 is what's going to be focused. So that's very exciting. Just want to kind of jump back into the tutorial here. You'll notice that we got there's about 5 or 6 different zombie layouts that you can get, and you can actually get a preview in between each survival level of sort of what zombies are going to be coming up. And the most optimal one by far is the newspaper wave or the newspaper and conehead wave, which is what we got here. Reason being, newspapers have fewer hit points. Fewer hit points mean 50% rules, proc faster, so forth and so on. So again, you may not get this in a normal survivals attempt, but it's very important. Again, if you're going for an individual level record, that it's almost required to get to get the newspaper on the second level. So there you go. Again, it's very nice if you can get 4 glooms out by the end of the second flag. I was able to do that here along with all 20 sunflowers. You can see we had to make a little bit of an adjustment to where we placed the Doom, and unfortunately did not get that very slow zombie at the top. Lost a couple of seconds there, but still, again, a very good level overall. And you can see in advance I'm planting some of the magnets there, and that was actually a good call. I didn't know what was going to come next, but if you get the bucket head waves, again, whether it's on levels 2, 3, 4, flags 2, 3, 4, or 5, you really want to make sure you have as many magnets out as soon as possible, because really in these levels the magnets are what give you your 50% rule. You can see there instantly, we're taking away 50 hit points every time a bucket head comes on the screen, which is really, really nice. You'll also see here that we're setting up a couple of umbrella leafs. This is one of the only times that the umbrella leaf comes into play in any of the runs, but important, if you can get them up in wave 2, that's great. I usually find that I just don't have enough sun, I just don't have enough flower pots and things like that, so it's usually more realistic to get them up in the in the third flag here. And the advantage is that on the final wave, we'll be able to place the Doom Shrooms in more aggressive spots, which again allows us to make sure that we clear out all those zombies and we don't get the stragglers like we did at the end of the second flag. So very nice. The other thing that we're doing here, trying to get some repeaters set up. These help protect the pumpkins, as well as sort of provide a little bit of extra DPS. You'll see in the bottom here on the final wave, we're not going to be able to, with this Doom placement, be able to get any of the zombies in the bottom row, but luckily we didn't get any, and that was why I placed the torchwood there to really help clear out that row. We got a very small gold split, which was excellent, but that's what we're getting. Yep, this is going up on SRC. Sasquatch, welcome. Again, I know we have some survivals tutorials out there, but again, I kind of wanted to do my own take. These again are a real focus on IL strategies, not necessarily what you would do for if you're running all the levels at once. As a result, we do get luckier here than maybe you would in sort of your normal attempts, but that's what you get. So the newspaper zombies have slightly more hit points than the regular zombies, but less so than the coneheads. So if you want to do damage to if you want to be able to proc the 50% rule, newspapers are definitely preferred because of their fewer numbers of hit points, and they also don't do a lot of damage to the pumpkins, which is another sort of slight advantage that we have there. You see, unfortunately, I didn't get the pumpkin down in time. That is going to cost me a little bit of time here. But again, when having all 5 blooms up, losing one of them isn't a very big deal. You really don't want to lose it when you only have 2 or 3. That's a tough one. So there you go. Welcome, Wolf Gaming, by the way. It's been a long time. It's been months since I did my stream. You'll see we have exclamation point, where is your fridge? I've had a lot going on in my personal life. Some very good, some very bad. Actually, very lucky I didn't lose that Doom there. You can see, again, as a result of not quite having as many magnets up as I would have liked, as well as getting a Vaulter wave, the Vaulters are a little bit slow because they're basically immune as they're jumping over the gloom. So what would have been better here is either one of the newspaper waves again, or one of the bucket head waves. But that's what we got. You'll also see that we're probably not going to get all torchwoods up at this point in every row. That's okay. It's not really a big deal. The really important rows to have the torchwood are the top and the bottom rows. Everything else is kind of gravy a little bit. And you can see I do lose another gloom here. Not a huge deal. You always have to sort of decide: are you better off, adding more magnets, or adding more torchwoods, or again replenishing your gloom shrooms. So it's a little bit of a tough call. I don't think I played this 4th and 5th wave perfectly, but again, you can tell I was on a pretty good pace. And again, if we get a really good time here, we might just get a personal best here, which is very nice. Thanks, A1. Welcome, by the way. and yeah, appreciate the ban there. Just a little bit obnoxious, but hope everyone's doing well today. Again, really great to be back streaming. After we're done with this tutorial, I might try some IL attempts. You'll see I take a very, very aggressive strategy here in order to get this Doom in an optimal place to kill all the zombies. This is a wave 5 strategy only, and you'll see that based on making sure that you squash that bungee, just so that you don't need to wait for him to get off screen. And I do get a very small personal best here, but I think this is maybe 3rd or 4th place on our leaderboard. So again, felt very, very good about that. So again, without any further ado, we'll jump right into Fog. Again, these are all pre-recorded videos. The other thing to pay attention to, pay attention that there's one cone head here. This is very, very important, particularly for the Fog and Night levels. The cone heads are really what slow down your first wave by a significant margin. So it's and the number of cone heads that you get in that little preview screen there as you're doing plant selection is a good predictor of how many cone heads you're going to get sort of throughout that particular flag. So particularly for Fog and Night, very important that if you're going for ILs that you make sure that you only have one cone head there. If you get 3 or 4, it's just going to cost you way too much time. They're much slower to kill, because basically for every cone head that you get, that's 2 regular zombies that you're not getting. And because you have so many of the rows that are filled out with puff shrooms in this strategy, that's what you get. So there you go. Really appreciate it, A1. I know we're probably just right at your bedtime, but really glad you got to pop in after. Again, yeah, it's been hard. Haven't gotten to connect quite as much. Sun RNG is important in the Night and the Fog levels, but not quite as important as it is in sort of the day, the roof, and pool levels. Because the sun shrooms themselves are so cheap. Again, you don't want bad luck, but that's what you get. The other thing that's important is right around the 130, 140 marker, you want to make sure that you get your first plantern planted. In these levels, we found it's generally best to make sure that the plantern is in the 5th column and the 2nd column. You want 2 planterns rather than trying to plant one in the pool, because with the zombies popping up in the pool, sometimes your plantern will get eaten, and then you have to take it on a future level, and that's just a lot of trouble. You see, I get a little bit unlucky here that I get back-to-back zombies here in the pool, and that's why we take the Tango Kelp, just in case we need it for a cone head that's in that's sort of lurking in the pool there. It is possible to get some incredible times here in the 210 area, but oftentimes when that happens, you really don't get quite enough sun out. And you can see there I actually stalled out because I had the lily pad there already. We stalled out the cone head, made sure all the zombies were on screen, and then planted the Doom. Again, just to give ourselves just that extra little window of time. You'll also notice here that we don't take the repeater or the torchwood just yet. Basically, we need that extra sun to plant I personally prefer just having a little bit more sun. Again, I really like to be right up around that 20 sun producer level. And again, very important to make sure that we have a that you're taking the puff shroom again, that you're getting your gloom shrooms out as soon as possible. And again, for levels where you have a some sort of metallic zombie at the end, having the making sure you get an early magnet out if you can as well. So that's that's great. It's the most challenging part. This is actually the 2nd most difficult wave in the entire run. Is this particular one, because basically the puff shrooms really aren't enough to deal with the zombies in the bottom row. Once you get a fume shroom or gloom shroom, that's certainly enough for the top. But again, you'll notice that we're just getting really ravaged in these bottom rows here. So it's really important to keep up your puff shrooms and to occasionally plant a squash just to kind of deal with the riffraff as best you can. You'll see here I get a little bit greedy. He's getting eaten, but again, he gets a full set of hit points when we put the the Gloom Shroom back on him. And again, you'll notice here that again, it's not a coincidence that the newspaper zombies are the fastest waves by far. So again, it's not you're not always going to get that lucky. Sometimes you're going to get other sources of trouble. You also notice I plant a sea shroom down there to make sure that the zombies that are in the pool, if they spawn as far to the left as possible, that we stall them out until we get all the zombies on screen and then get the doom shroom out there. So just be very aware of those little details. It's not always going to happen. Sometimes the zombies spawn in cooperative areas, but use the sea shroom not only for damage in the fourth row in that second flag, but also to make sure that none of the zombies escape in the bottom as we're doing as we're into the final wave. Again, get a conehead wave here. Not the best, not the worst. We'll have to see how that goes. Important thing when you get the conehead waves is to make sure that you do get a repeater out protecting your pumpkins as soon as possible. I take a slightly greedier than normal approach. Actually should have done that cherry at the very beginning of that wave. That was a slight mistake there. You can do the cherry basically as long as you know that it's going to respawn by the final wave, because sometimes you do need the cherry for the final wave itself. Again, always making sure that you're very diligent, particularly when you have a Gloom Shroom that's by itself, that you're getting that second pumpkin up as soon as possible. You also see that we put our Torchwood sort of in this position heading into this level. I'm in a little bit of a risky spot right here. You'll see that the top Gloom Shroom does not have a pumpkin, but again, because we have the Torchwood as well as the Gloom in the pool protecting it, we should be okay that it's not going to get eaten by the time that the wave comes up. What some people like to do is use the Imitator pumpkin for this level. Again, that's a little bit slower, but again, if you're going for IL strategies, that greed is important. You'll see the very, very important that I had that I had that cherry bomb ready. That saved a Gloom as well as a lot of time. You'll see, unfortunately here, that zombie, he must have been one of the slowest zombies I've ever seen come on the final wave. I thought I planted that Doom late, but instead we just unfortunately didn't get him. That would have been really, really good, and we'll see if that time loss there kind of comes back to our final version. You'll also see that we have the Dancer Zombie. Anytime you have the Dancer Zombie, you absolutely want to make sure that you take the cherry. As the Dancers are coming on screen, if you cherry them, you can save a lot of time because you don't need to wait for that backup Dancer to come on the final wave itself. Again, with all these Coneheads, want to make sure that I'm really increasing my DPS, getting those Torchwoods out, especially because, as you see in that top row, a lot of times we're getting the double Coneheads, all that sort of stuff. Just want to make sure we're really keeping up with our 50% rules. Should have used a squash in that bottom row much earlier than I did. I think I just didn't see it in time. So a couple little mistakes here and there that I end up losing a little bit of time. But again, that's kind of how we go. Willis girl, what's going on? What's going on? Really glad to see you. Hope you've been doing well. Hope your art and other life projects have been going well. I really miss having you around, but it's my fault for not streaming. That's what we get. Yep. So just kind of touching things up a little bit here as we go into the final wave. Basically, I had to make a decision. I really wanted to get another Gloom out, and at this point, if I get a Dancer Zombie in the bottom rows, just gonna have to deal with it. You'll see I had that cherry just ready, and I did get him in time. It was very, very, very close. That timing is like super precise. Again, unfortunately didn't get that, but if you're ever using the Doom in sort of these the fourth row at any point, make sure you have a squash ready, because sometimes there will be a lurking zombie at the top. So I'm actually very happy with how I played that wave, other than missing that the squash, and again getting a slightly unoptimal set of zombies there. And again, as we go into the fifth row, we haven't gotten a lot of metallic zombies yet. You actually sort of ironically hope for metallic zombies in sort of the third, fourth, and fifth waves, because again, getting those instant 50% rules as you sort of tear off a bucket head or a football zombie is very, very, very valuable. Didn't get a lot of metallic zombies here, so again, that's sort of part of the reason for the time loss. I feel like Fog in particular, this is one of the hardest ILs to beat. I have no idea how YMB did this. I've looked at his run over and over again, and it's so hard to add up. Again, a combination of getting great waves and just being being, sort of mistake-free, nearly perfect execution and things like that. Yeah, very, this is the one that I look at and I'm like, I don't know, if I put another 1,000 attempts into this, I'm not totally sure that I could get the world record in this particular category. But that's what we got. It's a tough one, but that's what we get. You'll also notice I set up double squashes here. This is because sometimes and we also dig this up so that if we get a dancer zombie or someone else that's a bit of a pain, we have a solution for them. And the squashes are mostly that if we get zombies spawning really far over in the pool, that we have that as well. But again, a really beautiful fifth wave here. We saved a ton of time and got a 927, which I think is either second or third place on the leaderboard. So very, very happy with that. Again, fog is brutally difficult. I had to put several hundred resets into putting that IL together. A quick note about plant selection. You always want to make sure that your plant selection, I try to think of plant selection in terms of sort of patterns, right? Like how can I sort of like pick so that I can like pick like click, 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 sort of in like little like waves of 2 or 3 and sort of like, move intelligently sort of around the plant selection area so that I'm ready to click start right when it happens. If you can get a low 8-second time for your for plant selection, that's really good. There are some people that can get sort of in the mid to high 7 seconds, but I just found that again, you can spend all the time that you want on plant selection, but at the end of the day, there's just so much more that can go wrong that'll save way more time than maybe a half a second, a quarter second, in plant selection. As I mentioned, the sun RNG, you really want those early sunflowers producing as much sun as possible. What waves you get, again, are you getting those newspaper waves on your second and third flags? All that stuff just matters so much more than plant selection itself. I actually, this was a little bit earlier on in my pool journey. I have a new strategy now for sort of where I plant the sunflowers. It's in order to leave space for sort of where I like planting the repeaters potentially in the second flag. But it's okay that we're not doing it here. You'll actually see I sort of made up for it with some sort of much better situations there as well. You can see I just get this this pumpkin down here really, really tight there. I probably would have played a little more risk averse if I was going for all the levels at once. And you can see the reason that we take the tangle kelp here rather than the lily pad is for situations like that. It's almost impossible to deal with the fourth row, and if you get a cone head in it at any point, that's basically run over. So you notice that we don't take once again we don't take the lily pad in this level, which is sort of interesting for what you would normally think of a pool level. But really the idea is that all these other plants that we have here are they're just too important. There's just too much that can go wrong elsewhere to for us to worry about it quite that much. You'll see again, if we put our doom here, you can also put it in the third row. I like having it here a little bit better. And again, as long as you have a either the potato mine like I did or a squash to deal with the sixth row, that's okay too. But also sometimes you've just used your lawnmower in the sixth row, in which case you actually don't need anything for that for that final wave at all. So again, a really good level there. I like being sort of sub 240 for that as well. Again, with enough sun to be able to to be able to deal with or be able to plant the gloom shroom as soon as I can at the beginning of the second flag here. Again, you can see how I dug up that sunflower right away. What I've been doing is actually leaving the fifth row. At least for this one, I've been leaving the fifth row blank so that in putting my sunflowers a little bit farther up, so that basically I can keep those sunflowers on the lawn for just a little bit longer. So again, sort of a mistake that I was making sort of earlier in my pool journey. Just something to be aware of. Again, same sort of thing here. You always want to make sure that, almost always want to make sure that your third gloom is in the third row. Again, so that way it helps sort of protect the the top gloom a little bit as well. I actually sort of slightly regret using the squash there. I like saving the squash either for the final wave or the ninth wave if we need it. Also, again, making sure that we get a few extra sunflowers planted. This is a little bit, you can go more aggressive than this and basically not plant any more sunflowers, but again, I just found like if I only have like 18, 20 sunflowers on this level, I just it's just too hard to sort of get everything else out that you need, especially where we have 6 rows to protect in the pool levels, rather than just 5. Again, if you're very, very careful here, you can get those 2 zombies even if they spawn really far up. You can also plant a lily pad in the 6th column in order to sort of block them from getting out of range of your doom shroom. So a couple ways to deal with that. Again, my timing was very, very tight there, but luckily did not miss them. That would have been that would have been a disaster. Other thing is like the pool. You can put pumpkins to protect your stuff in the pool, but that's about what we get. So again, you'll see here that I get a newspaper wave, which again is really, really, really nice, especially as you're starting to add torchwoods and the rest of that stuff. It really, really helps the time, quite a bit. And we, again, not so much against the, usually wave 3 is not just newspapers. That you usually either add, vultures or cone heads to go along with it. The cone heads are actually a little bit better. Again, the immunity, the iframes that you get from the from the vultures is just a little bit too annoying. And again, it sort of puts your magnets at risk here. You can see that's why I'm sort of doubling up. In that row a little bit as well. You see, I also made a slight mistake here. I probably just should have put a torchwood in this in the second row. Not a huge deal. It's just the torchwood is a little bit better bang for your buck, a little bit cheaper, and you get that nice splash damage in addition to sort of doubling the damage of the zombies that you have. So you can see here, we plant the doom, and luckily I didn't need a squash in the top row, but that's sort of another option. Again, when you're using the 4th row dooms, want to make sure that you get a squash there in the top row if necessary. Again, unfortunately, we get a newspaper zombie or a dancer zombie. What I should have done here was taken a cherry bomb, again, just to have a little bit of ammunition against him in the final wave if I need to. Hopefully we don't lose a ton of time from that. But again, the dancer zombies are, in some ways probably the least optimal of all the waves to get, just because they can really mess up your final waves. The other strategy you can do is you can use your doom shroom early on the final waves in order to try to get the dancer zombies in advance of that as well. Probably a few too many magnets that we have going on here, but again, that's kind of that's how it goes sometimes. I'm always a little bit torn about sort of, again, prioritizing getting, additional firepower up. I think I did this, roughly in the right order. You can also put magnets in the pool. Again, they have sort of a nice range for some of those middle zombies that we have there. But yeah, that's didn't quite have the sun, and didn't want to necessarily lose them in the final wave as well. So you can see I try to do that just in time, and I didn't get some of the backup dancers. If I had been, honestly, frames sooner, might have been able to keep that backup dancer at bay, but luckily didn't lose a ton of time from it as well. Yo, Charlie, really glad you can tune in today. What's going on, Charlie? It's been, we got a new background. If you type in where the mech, or what did I say? Where is your fridge? Exclamation point, where's your fridge? I'll give everyone a quick life update about what's been going on. But life is life's been moving. Some good, some bad, but at the end of the day, we take what life gives us and adapt and all that kind of stuff. But yep, new background, new setup, all that kind of stuff, and that's how we roll. So again, you can see that we got a bucket head wave, which is actually nice given all the magnets that we have here. Really nice for our fifth wave here. What I wish I'd been doing here was actually setting up lily pads in the sixth column, because again, sort of like we did for fog, we're going to be putting a doom in the in the ninth column in order to try to deal with stuff as quickly as possible. I also should have taken a cherry bomb. I think I honestly just sort of forgot that that we had the dancer zombies here as well. You can see I'm sort of like, oh crap, got to get this set up, got to get the doom in. Oh boy, oh, what am I gonna do? So yeah, kind of messing that up there. You can see I use a squash, and unfortunately didn't get to use the cherry to deal with the dancer zombies. So in just a second or two late there, you can see if I'd gotten those earlier, I would have been in the low 920s. Only would have been a couple seconds off world record, but that's how it goes. So again, slight mistake there on the final wave, but what can you do? Again, going into survival night here, these next two levels are levels that I sort of feel like I could get world record for, and I'll actually have someone. Hey, what's going on, PVZ 1004 for life or 100 for life? Appreciate the support, and yeah, hope you enjoy our survivals tutorial that we have going on here. There you go. Been chilling? No, I think you got it, Charlie. I think you got it. Yeah, there. No, you're all good. Yeah, so heading into the night levels, this is another one where your first flag can like almost go too fast. So what I look for in the night levels, again, obviously, first most important thing, make sure you only have one cone head in your preview. The cone heads can just kill you on the night levels, especially if they show up in some of the rows that have more graves. So again, be very, very aware of that if you're going for sort of one of the top times in the in the night levels. The other thing to be aware of is if you get a horrible grave layout, just reset. Like at some point you will get a bad zombie there, whether it's in the ninth wave or a cone head or the rest of that stuff. That's all what we got there. The best case scenario is that you basically get one grave in each of the rows, but it's not absolutely necessary to get that in order to get a good time, but again, just kind of be aware of that. I actually kind of like having a couple extra graves in the middle, because when we do put a gloom shroom here, which you can see you actually don't have enough sun early on, you in order to get the gloom shrooms, the levels basically just over too quickly, so we do not take the glooms on the first flag. Yeah, I arguably should have put a scaredy shroom in this middle row as well, just to try to get this done a little bit sooner as well. The other thing very important is that a new grave can spawn basically anywhere in these last couple of rows here. So I actually lucked out that I got the grave here, because I do not want a grave spawning in the fifth column. So what we do here, you can see we actually wait a little bit of extra time, make sure everybody's on screen, and plant the doom right there in column 7. That way, again, I'm guaranteed, even if I have some zombies that are farther forward, I'm not gonna miss them. So again, very important to sort of be aware of that, and make sure that you're not missing out on anything. A little bit of an issue with the plant select there. Probably lost 3 or 4 seconds. Again, kind of beat myself over that up over that a little bit. But you can see, if I didn't get 21, 22 sunflowers, I really like having that for this level. It's just too helpful. You know what I mean? You can see, unfortunately, I kind of guessed wrong. I guessed wrong with my gloom. This wave here is going to be a little bit slow. Probably should have been a little bit more aware of some of the problems in those rows, and just made sure that I, kind of kept up with the puff shrooms a little bit more than I did. Again, the beginning of these second waves can be very, very difficult. It's always hard to know, like, how early do I prioritize the pumpkins so my gloom doesn't get eaten? When do I use instant? When do I get a magnet out? As you can see, I was sort of a little bit late in that, for example. It's very, very challenging. You can see here, I knew the magnet wasn't off cooldown, so I actually had to use a cherry there to make sure that I dealt with that guy in time. Again, very slow in getting the magnets down. I just had to prioritize that higher. It wasn't a sun issue. It was really more just a me issue, right? Like, again, very, very late. I should have prioritized that over getting the next gloom gloom down. So several mistakes, I would say, in this in this flag that this wave could have been very, very fast. The buckethead waves are not that bad again because you're getting these like fast instant 50% rules, but again, I just wasn't quite on my game. So that's how it goes. Again, always want to make sure that you have one space left over for a grave to appear. Otherwise, those graves really like to appear right on your glooms, and that's basically maybe not run over if you're going for playing all the levels, but it can be really, really devastating. That's a lot of sun kind of lost and messed up for you. So at this point, the night levels kind of become a little bit more straightforward. Again, just want to make sure that you're kind of balancing. When do I get more glooms out? Do I have enough magnets? Based on the upcoming wave. Again, in this case, we got another conehead wave, which again, or buckethead wave, and these can be very, very fast. Like I said, you really want to make sure. Like that's why I've been prioritizing these magnets over the gloom shrooms because like you're if you think about it, you're doing more damage to the zombies by pulling off their helmets by a large factor than you would by even getting up another gloom, even sort of those like well-placed glooms that we have in the middle. So again, if you're getting things like cone heads, newspapers, things like that, maybe you're prioritizing your repeaters and that sort of stuff a little earlier, your gloom shrooms. But again, if any sort of bucket heads, footballers, that's when you really want to make sure that you have at least 4-5 magnets out for these waves, so that every wave you're constantly getting them, because I believe the cooldown on the magnet is, I think it's about 15 seconds, meaning that you have to wait 2 waves between when it happens. I want you to pay careful attention to this. So we have a doom that's there, and then a squash at the very bottom. So anytime you're doing the doom in row 2 like that, always make sure you have either a squash or a cherry in order to make sure that you clear out that 5th row as well. Again, plant selections are pretty good in this one, especially towards the end. We're basically picking the same plants over and over again, but I felt like plant selection could have been a little bit better here. I don't know if it was one of my first runs of the day. I just didn't quite feel like I had plant selection down. In these levels at all. So again, you can see there we're having the 6 magnets up really paid off. In these ways we really do sort of hope for bucket heads, because again you really want those magnets working. You really want them to have cooldown. You'll see that I'm sort of playing with the cherry there a little bit, and had to be aware of that squash because I knew that all those magnets were off cooldown. The reason that I had the cherry out there was if I had gotten like 2 bucket heads, say in the 2nd row, I didn't have my pumpkin off cooldown. So just that's another sort of advantage of the cherry, is that it can help protect your pumpkins while you're waiting for the pumpkin cooldown to finish the recharge. On that, just getting our torchwoods up, again, especially with the cone heads, the vaulters, getting those cone heads up as soon as possible is good. Probably should have put one repeater in the 3rd row. I kind of regret not having that around. But you'll see here another thing that I do when you, again, sort of very similarly, when you put the doom in the 4th row, make sure that you have a cherry or a squash for the top row. Again, you can see that saved a ton of time there. Again, I think part of the reason I lost time there, number 1, not being prepared for the 9th wave. Number 2, being a little bit late with some of the magnets and the firepower getting down. So again, that 4th flag in the world record run, which is what my goal splits represent, are just really good. Again, the night levels are going to be a really tough world record to beat. Again, it's one of those I feel like I could, but it's just brutally difficult. So just gotta just like I said before, just gotta roll with the punches, and we do the best that we can. Again, got to be a little bit careful of the top row there. I really thought I was potentially going to lose the gloom. Maybe should have prioritized getting a pumpkin up a little bit sooner than I did. But again, sometimes you play with fire, and sometimes it works out, and sometimes it doesn't. Again, you have to be very, very aware that on these waves, when on your fifth flag, when you have a dancer zombie, again, being very aware of the final wave. I'll show you sort of exactly what I mean, because you want to make sure that you sort of have space both to use a cherry against the dancers in the final wave, but also so you can see here that I leave the pumpkin here so that the grave does not appear in the middle row. Then cherry the middle row and make sure I have the doom ready. And you can see that prevented the backup dancers from spawning. And that was a beautiful, beautiful final wave. I was super happy with that. And I think 912, believe it or not, that might be second place on our leaderboard. So I was very, very, very happy with the execution of that final flag on the night levels. That felt really, really good, and we actually got a second place IL to go with that. So there you go. Welcome, McLovin. Haven't seen you in a long time. That's been on me, not you. It just being a little bit tougher to get the streams up and going these days. But yeah. Last but not least is day levels. You might notice the careful eye would notice that we had an 8:59 as our best time that we were going against here. The tragic news there is that, unfortunately, I was not recording. I forgot to hit the record button when I got the 8:59, and I was devastated. I was probably 20 or 30 frames away from getting a tied world record, the world record being a 8:58. So, I mean, that was just heartbreaking. But we'll see what we do here. Again, you'll notice the interesting setup with the sunflowers. This was not a misclick. The idea is that eventually we're going to want repeaters in the second row, so it's better to put your sunflowers in the sixth and seventh columns as opposed to one of the others. Again, the way we have the setup here, you have your rake, you have your potato mine, you have your squash, and if we'd gotten another zombie in the second or third row here, we would just reset. At that point, but again, the instants are very, very important for the for the day levels as well, and sort of making sure you hit that perfect balance of like getting your instants down, but also your sunflowers down as soon as possible, but sort of planning and preparing for the gloom, which again I like to be at about 12 to 14 sunflowers, sort of when I start thinking about the gloom. I was a little bit greedy here. I'm actually really surprised that I kind of went that aggressively, because I could have been in real trouble here if if I hadn't gotten and I was predicting that a bucket head would be in that row, but again, you can see there where this is very, very greedy. I normally like to get the gloom down by at least the sixth wave, and again, it could have spelled disaster for us here as well. Again, just a very, very lucky. Again, if you want world record, sometimes you just got to get a little bit of luck, and that's exactly that's exactly what we had there. Unfortunately, that guy escaped with like 1 hit point. It would have been really nice if I could have had a squash there, but saving the cherry for the ninth wave as well is really important. Anytime you see a bucket head or a cone head or anything like that, you really want to make sure that that you have that in place as well. Again, this first flag though, I felt really, really happy with. Got a nice time. It is possible to get in the 320s, but again, sometimes you don't get all 25 sunflowers planted when that's the case. Again, actually a pretty nice second wave here as well. If you don't get just newspapers, getting newspapers with bucket heads is probably the next best thing. And again, that's why you see that I'm prioritizing the bucket head or the magnet really, really heavily, even over getting my second gloom out, because I just know one of these first two waves is going to have a bucket head, so getting that set up is going to be just hugely important. Turns out that wasn't the case, but again, I'm still really glad that I had it out. And again, you see here, even prioritizing another magnet over getting our pumpkin out. So again, I don't know if you call that greed or safety, but again, I just know for sure that the metallic zombies are coming, and again, knowing that I still had that magnet in the middle, I felt like I could kind of get away with getting a repeater there. I also had the squash and the cherry off cooldown if it was the case that I got a metallic zombie. Again, I wasn't sure if I was going to get that cooldown in time. That's why you saw me place the squash there. But again, really happy to kind of get get these, because because I don't have the third gloom protecting the other glooms as quickly as I would have liked. But very, very happy, kind of making sure that I got as many magnets as I did, as well as having two repeaters down as well. Again, this is sort of my contribution to the survival strategies. I really love this. I actually don't like using the glooms in column 7. I like using them here coupled with a squash for whatever, either, again, if you're using the second row, you put the squash in the 5th row, or if you're planting in the 4th row, you plant the squash in the 1st row. I really like that strategy. I can't recommend it enough, particularly for like day and night. That's a huge one. Welcome, Perpy to mobile. Really glad to have you here today. Yep, we got a new setup. I actually have a room that I can kind of devote to gaming and streaming and classwork and all that stuff. But that's what we got. Oh, does it not work? I thought. Oh wow. I thought I had it. Let me double check my my night. Yeah, there we go. Oh, Bent. It has been a long, long time. I was just thinking about you the other day, Bent, when I knew that I was going to get a stream up and running. How you doing, my friend? What's going on? Also, I apologize for the. Does the hotfix not work either? I updated Nightbot earlier today. I'm very, very surprised. I apologize. What's going on, Ben? How's the band doing? How's the family doing? Hopefully, health, work, all that stuff is well. Anyway, so for spoiler alert, since apparently my commands aren't working, my wife and I bought a house. That's sort of the exciting news. So this is actually a proper bedroom that I can use for streaming and working and all that kind of stuff. But it does mean no more fridge in the background. So again, I said I understand. Oh, no bands anymore. Making your own music. Yeah, no, but that's that's fun. Kind of sometimes nice to venture out on your own and kind of do your own thing. That's great. Hopefully it's all working out. But yep. Bought a new house, moved in towards the end of the month. Again, that's one of the reasons I haven't had as much time for streaming recently, between house hunting and the bank stuff and packing and moving and unpacking and, all that setting all the stuff up and fixing all the problems with the new house and all that stuff. It's just been, I've really been in go mode for the last 3 or 4 months. It's been, thank you very much. Yeah, no, I really appreciate that. We're very happy. Again, it's a little bit closer to our moms, but we're still close to our friends and stuff, and a little bit farther from work for my wife. But we both primarily work remotely. So again, it's kind of nice that we could move a little bit. We're still in Massachusetts, but a little bit farther from the Boston area, where again, we could kind of get kind of that the house and all that kind of stuff that we wanted, without sort of like paying Boston prices, which is great. I have gotten a bent 3 stack lately in some of my practice runs for doing this bent. So yes is the answer, but that's yeah. So that's terrific. Again, you'll see here being ready with the cherry, just in case we had any dancer zombies. I didn't, but really wanted to be kind of prepped in advance. And you'll see it actually is worth, in my opinion, digging up the, it's so important that you kill those dancers that it's actually worth digging up a gloom in order to do it. So again, really kind of recommend that strategy. The one challenge is that, again, we don't have quite as much space here for magnets as I'd like. I normally like to have 8 magnets out if I can. Sometimes it doesn't work out like that, especially when we have a magnet there. But luckily, we actually I forgot about that. We actually got one of the Doom spots recovered very nicely there. So that's good stuff. Again, once you have sort of this setup here, I'm not as concerned about the pumpkins for the middle row glooms. Really, the only glooms that are vulnerable, as you can see, are the kind of the top and the bottom rows. Everything else, like unless you run out of magnets or something really kind of tough like that, that's what we got. So yeah. So Yeah, anyway, I feel, this is more or less the setup. Again, as we kind of come to the very end to survivals here, again, really kind of what I want to point out is that, these are individual level strategies. It's important to play more conservatively if you're playing all the normal survival levels at once. But important things to be aware of, what's your sun RNG? How fast is that first couple of sun producing for you? Number two, what waves are there? And you can see I'm so close to world record here. I actually put a cherry there just in case I didn't get the last one. I didn't, and this actually was a 9-minute even level. I was a couple frames late in one of the splits, and so we actually did get 9 minutes even, which was good enough for second place on our leaderboard. Anyway, again, I really appreciate everyone tuning in. This one's going up to YouTube. If those of you here on Twitch, I'm gonna do a little bit more streaming. I'm gonna try some IL attempts and things like that. But hopefully you learned something. Was able to take something away from this. Again, kind of looking forward to being able to commit to some more survivals and some of these categories I've neglected a little bit over the years, while still kind of going for some of the categories that I like. And again, for those of you that would like to, obviously here's your reminder to like and follow and all that good stuff. But we also, coming up on February 4th, 2023, that's a Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern time, we're going to be part of the Games Done Quick hotfix events. I'm actually doing Ancient Egypt for Plants vs. Zombies 2. So that's very, very exciting. So please tune into that. And again, for the YouTube folks, until next time, and those of you on Twitch, I'm going to do a little bit of kind of streaming some of these levels and all that stuff as well. Because again, I think I feel right there with some of these world records. Very, 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 very close to be able to actually get my first survivals IL in a long time. So we'll see how it goes. So again, till next time, and on Twitch we'll be booting right up.